Good day, friends. My name is Africa Mhlope. I am with my friend here, Leon Killian. We're talking about health, nutrition. We're observing something about how our bodies function. We are not physicians. First of all, let me just say right from the beginning, neither are we qualified, but we just have what is called experience and just observation in terms of people we relate with, people who are close to us, who are struggling with different health and elements and difficulties. And some people have been coming to Leon as well, asking questions and regarding their health and their bodies. And we thought, let's make this video to share just brief issues that we think are a challenge. And as far as people's health are concerned. And so we encourage you to consult a physician, your nutritionist, your dietitian, to further confirm the things that we'll be discussing. But Leon, let's go for it. We're talking about you have this idea that God is a healer and has given us enough in our bodies to heal ourselves.
Yeah, that's my standpoint, and I have actually delivered a couple of talks along this line to say that God is a healer and has in fact given us everything to heal ourselves. And so what we wanted today to discuss is why do I actually say this and what naturally exists. So we're going to do this by talking about some of the major diseases in the world, starting with the cardiovascular disease. But before I want to get there, I just want to say something about the self-healing capabilities that the human body actually does have. Okay. You see, when God designed the humans, like everything else that He has designed, He designed them in a perfect way. We, for example, have a super strong immune system that is capable of fighting diseases off, provided it does get correct nutrition and nutrients and so on to get it strong. For example, a super strong immune system can actually gobble up cancer cells. Your immune system can produce natural killer cells that's capable of eating up cancer cells, That's to say...
the immune system can kill cancer.
Yes, it can kill cancer cells. I've actually seen slides taken under electron microscope showing a natural killer cell, which is about 5 times smaller than a cancer cell. It will actually enter a cancer cell and come out the other side. It actually hollows out and empties out the cancer cell. And so we humans are designed perfectly by God to bring about this healing. And the body is a very intelligent, self-healing organism, self-regulating organism that is capable of healing itself.
What goes wrong then when people get sick?
You see, the big thing is that we don't get less sick easily unless we cause it to ourselves. We cause our own sickness in the most instances. As an example, one of the primary causes of most diseases is dirty, thick, unclean blood, devoid of nutrients and devoid of antioxidants. As a case in point, high blood pressure, that is the underlying cause of high blood pressure, is this thick, dirty blood, you can say, that doesn't contain much antioxidants.
And how does a person deal with that? How if you have that condition, how do you reverse it? First of all, what causes it?
Yeah.
Is it nutritional? Is it things we eat?
Yes.
And then therefore to reverse it, we must eat differently.
Correctly so, yeah.
Can you dig deep on that?
Yeah, let's see. We're living in modern era, modern times in the world, of course, and which is very much dominated by the fast food culture. And in the more westernized world, the fast food culture is really a big thing, isn't it? We just have to go and look around us, all the takeaway places, the fast foods, the junk foods, the processed food. If you go into a supermarket, you'll see aisle upon aisle of processed foods. And this is all the kind of thing that is giving us this thicker, more dirtier blood that's devoid of nutrition. And that's the fundamental reason why people actually get sick.
Okay, and then you talked about cardiovascular disease. You believe that this is the biggest killer.
Yes. Yeah. If we look at the statistics as it is in the world currently, in all countries in the world, this is the number one cause of death, is cardiovascular disease. And I thought to talk about it, I would like to start with cholesterol first, because cholesterol is often cited as the precursor for high blood pressure, hypertension, and then falling on to cardiovascular disease from that point on, and possibly strokes and heart attack and so on. But it's come to my attention that a lot of people have a misunderstanding of cholesterol and what it does in the body. They don't even understand often that it's actually very important to the functioning of the human body. You see, cholesterol is not this very bad thing that it's made out to be, by and large. Let's look at some of the positive things that cholesterol actually do in our body. It is all your hormones in your body most of them are derived from cholesterol. We're talking estrogen, progesterone, we're talking testosterone. The male hormone testosterone is derived from cholesterol.
Okay.
Vitamin D is made out of cholesterol.
All right.
And vitamin D is hugely important to the running of human body. A lot of people don't get enough vitamin D, leading to a lot of problems that can arise from not getting enough vitamin D, But one of the main functions from a cardiovascular point of the disease point of view of cholesterol is the fact that it is actually the repairer of the arteries. Why do I say so? Is that negative things in our bloodstream, such as heavy metals, aluminium, mercury, molds, and other things that's in the bloodstream can actually cause holes in the lining of the arteries. And the LDL cholesterol, the low density lipoprotein, which has been given such a bad reputation, its job is to actually close up those holes, fill them up, level them out. And that's his example. That's what God given us cholesterol for to do. You see, it's not actually the cholesterol that is the problem. It is other things that interact with cholesterol that makes it into a problem.
Okay.
To give an example, I will quote you 4 things. It's the high level of saturated fat that comes from an animal protein diet.
Okay.
It is sugar. Sugar interacts in a negative factor with cholesterol through oxidation. A lot of cholesterol actually comes from sugar and having higher blood sugar.
Okay.
And then there's these modern day oils that people use, the cheap oils, the so-called high omega-6 type of oils. Polyunsaturated oils is actually the correct name. Now, why this is a problem is that it brings inflammation to the arteries. And it brings free radical damage to the arteries. It's this free radical damage of these oils that interact with the LDL cholesterol, and through oxidation then turns it into something negative, and forming the plaque in the arteries. And also then the salt that people use on their food, which is sodium chloride. This is often underestimated, and when you talk about arterial damages, you've got 2 main causes here. You've got atherosclerosis, which is the plaque in the arteries, okay? Then you've got arteriosclerosis, which is the hardening or calcification of the arteries. And so if we talk about table salt, which most people use, sodium chloride, plays a very important role in that calcification of the arteries.
So it blocks the arteries?
It hardens the arteries.
Okay.
It hardens the arteries. And so you see, we need to make adjustment to these things in our diet and not just put all the blame on cholesterol. Let's take a practical example. If there was an accident down the road and there was an ambulance at the site of the accident, are we going to say it was the ambulance that caused the accident? You see?
Yeah.
Is cholesterol there? Cholesterol is on site there because it needs to be there. Just like the ambulance.
So cholesterol is not the problem,
no.
But it's other things that interact with cholesterol.
Yes. In fact, if you go and look 30, 40 years ago, nutritionists and people doing the nursing course, they were actually learned back then that a cholesterol of up to 300 in America, that's a different measuring unit they use there, is acceptable.
Okay.
In South Africa, where we are now, we talk about cholesterol shouldn't be higher than 5.5, but 40 years up to 7 was actually acceptable, But what is going on in modern day times is that in this country, if cholesterol is over 5.5, let's say 6 or 6.5, they want to put you on medication, cholesterol lowering medication, which in most instances is statin drugs. Now, the thing to understand is that whenever you take a chemical substance, and that's what medication is, drugs are, there's a chemical substance which is often toxic to our system. We are not designed for these things. In the case of statin drugs, they inhibit what is called coenzyme Q10 in the human body. If you go and study what coenzyme Q10 actually does in the body, it's very important in the energy production in the human body, and it is very important in the functioning of the heart and protection of the heart. Statin drugs also breaks down the inside the body, or prohibits the development of vitamin K2 in the body. Go and look at what the function of vitamin K2 is. Its function is to keep the calcium out of the arteries and direct it to the bone where you actually need it.
Okay.
So you see now, if vitamin K2 was not in your body, then the calcium would go to the artery. You see, and that's what you don't want. So you're taking this cholesterol-lowering medication because you were given this, but it's actually aggravating the cardiovascular disease.
Sure.
Okay, so what I'm saying is we must understand is how cholesterol is formed in the human body. Cholesterol is mainly derived out of saturated fat. That is the kind of fat that is found in animal products, or animal food. That is now meat and chicken and so forth, and fish and so forth. That's the kind of fat that we get. Your liver takes saturated fat and transforms it into cholesterol.
Okay.
So commonsensically then, if you were to eat a lot of animal protein, you're going to have more cholesterol because your liver converts saturated fat in the meat. You know that marbling effect in the meat? That is saturated fat. It's not just the meat on the outskirts, the fat on the outskirts of the meat. It's actually the marbling inside the meat. And also, just to mention, you putting sodium chloride on your meat when you fry it or cook it, which is table salt, right? But there's also calcium urate inside the meat. So there's two forms of calcium. And this also adds to the damage in the arteries, because there is now the calcification of the artery also happening. The medical industry do what they do a CAC test, or a CAC score, a CAC test, or a calcium test that they can do in your arteries to measure the amount of calcification of your arteries. And that's important in that regard. So what I'm saying is we mustn't demonize cholesterol. It's got a lot of good things that it does. I'm not saying we must have it very high, not at all. But what I'm saying, commonsensically, how would you lower it? You lower it by eating less animal protein.
Okay.
Keeping in mind that vegetables and fruits have no cholesterol at all, nothing. And that there are foods, in fact, like onions, garlic, chilies, cayenne pepper, that can directly lower your cholesterol. So let's say my cholesterol was in this country 7 or 7.5, and I wanted to get to normal range, which is 5.5. It's simply a matter of eating less animal protein, eating more vegetable and fruit that don't contain cholesterol. And if I were to cut out dairy, say margarine or whatnot, then I'll be down to 5.5 in no time. I certainly don't need a chemical substance to lower my cholesterol. What I need is common sense, really.
Okay, that's amazing. So let's talk about somebody who already has clogged calorie, or sorry, heart. What are the veins? What do you call it?
The
Arteries. Sorry,
the arteries. Yeah.
Now they're already blocked, and they have to go into a stent or up to that level. And what do they do? What is a natural way of opening blocked arteries?
Okay, I'm going to get to that in a minute, but I just wanted to say something about blood thinning medication.
Okay.
Because why this is important is that when a person has a cardiovascular disease problem, the standard procedure in the medical industry is to give them a blood thinning medication to prevent a stroke or heart attack. And alternatively, if they already had a stroke, is then the procedure normally is to give them a blood thinning medication to prevent a further stroke or a heart attack. Now, the two medications that are normally used in this sense is number one is warfarin, number two is aspirin. Okay, these are the two things that are normally used to thin blood. Now, if I can bring a bit of humor into this, I was in my 20s and I was there in Helwig, Natal. And I remember going to the hardware shop. I was doing a bit of building at home. And right there on the shelf was this packet of rat poison, okay? And it had big orange letters written on it, warfarin. So warfarin is basically a rat poison. It kills rats by thinning their blood so much that they die from overbleeding, okay? And so people are now given this warfarin, obviously in lower dosages than what the rats were given. But to say that there is a lot of negative side effects on actually taking that drug, I don't want to get into detail, but look, it's quite severe. People get these black marks on their arms, as one the blood in the stools and severe bleeding and stomach, and yeah, it's quite horrendous the stuff that happens. But what I want to say is, again, my standpoint is we must look what God has given us to thin our blood in a natural sense.
Okay.
Now, there's quite a lot of stuff. There is pine bark extract. There's pine seed extract. Grape seed extract, sorry. Pine bark extract and grape seed extract. There is garlic. There is vitamin E. There is omega-3. And there is cayenne pepper. Okay. But no, see, typically by God's design, when He gives you something to thin your blood, it is something good. Because if you take, according to research done, vitamin E is actually over 200% more effective in thinning your blood than aspirin. Okay. But you see, so you can use vitamin E to thin your blood, but it's got many other positive side effects, you see. Whereas drugs tend to have negative side effects, this has got positive side effects. Vitamin E, as it is thinning your blood, it's protecting your heart. It's bringing oxygen to your heart. Vitamin E, for example, prevents the laydown of plaque inside your arteries to actually begin with. Omega-3 is a blood thinner. What does it do? At the lining of the arteries, it helps to keep it more supple so that it can open and close or move, constrict and dilate. So when you use natural thinners, like cayenne pepper also, it is good for your blood circulation, and it gets your heart working better and so on. So the natural blood thinner is very, very effective and bring many other positive side effects to us, and doesn't have any negative side effects, you see. So the question is, why are we're not using these things?
Is it a lack of knowledge?
I believe it is extensive lack of knowledge. I also think people are misinformed. For example, I worked with a man who already had a light stroke, and he was put on this warfarin. And I advised him to use vitamin C because vitamin C unblocks the arteries, right? Vitamin E to prevent plaque laydown, omega-3 to keep the arteries more supple. And when next time he went to his visit, his doctor, the doctor said he can't use any of those things because he is on warfarin. Now you see, to me that doesn't make sense, to be honest.
Why?
Because if we can use good stuff that's good for our body to thin our blood.
So would you say that the medical industry has a certain focus and motive in selling us medication rather than exposing us to naturally available products? So they've got their own motivation in steering us towards medication and away from what naturally is occurring.
Well, obviously, I like to say I like to say that can we really put our trust and faith in a system that is actually run off profit made from your disease? That is really what's behind the thing. Money is always an incentive here, but let's take omega-3 as an example, as a good blood thinner. It is called an essential fatty acid. It's essential to the working of our body. Every cell membrane cell in your body, you got like 70 trillion cells, has got omega-3 in it, in the cell membrane. That's why you get a good skin when you take omega-3, because it's in the cells of your skin. It's very important for the functioning of your brain, because you got like 70% fat in your brain, right? The cholesterol, by the way, is also very important for your brain. And so 1/3 of the fat in your brain is essential fatty acids. So you desperately need that omega-3 for the running of your body. And to prevent, in fact, Alzheimer's, because one of the leading causes of Alzheimer's is not getting enough omega-3 in your diet. And so as we are using this to thin our blood, we're getting all these positive side effects, you see.
Wow. Yeah, let's end it there for now. This is amazing. Friends, we're going to continue with these talks. We're just dealing with one part. The body is a complicated structure. And so we're just dealing with one at a time, looking not only exhaustively on the issue of cardiovascular disease, but we're just starting out. So we're going to continue dealing with the biggest killer disease in South Africa and in various parts of the world, cardiovascular disease, but we're just starting it out. We have not talked about depression, we have not talked about high blood pressure, we have not talked about various other diseases and conditions that affect a lot of people. So if you want to make sure that you don't miss any of these videos, there's a plane that's flying over where we're staying. So if you hear a noise, we're in a home. So we're in a residential suburb, so there's an airport not too far away. So I was saying that if you want to make sure you don't miss any of these videos, subscribe to my channel, and we'll make sure we load them up quite regularly. As I said before, we're just sharing our experience and the things that we have interacted and observed in regards to health and healing, nutrition, and lifestyle. Check with your nutritionist, dietitian. We are pretty sure that they will confirm most of what we're saying. Goodbye.
Thank you.